Happy Monday. How was the weekend for you?
It was hot. I was inside all day. I was drinking. You don't have a cold
iced
press
tea?
juicer? No.
Oh, your
I
juicer.
have a cold press juicer, so I was making my favorite juice, which is watermelon, pineapple, ginger. With
I know, which is my
cucumber.
favorite with the cucumber because it gives you
cucumber.
that extra moisture.
It does. It gets you what you need. It hydrates you.
Yeah,
It was-
it's very hydrating.
Yes.
Gives you the electrolytes that you need,
Oh,
and you're going to
yes.
need it because, I mean, it's warm, and it's kind of a reprieve tonight. But like you said, that second wave is coming in, and good God Almighty.
Listen, I am not looking forward to this weekend because if you thought this past weekend was a little bit of
Toasty.
yeah, it's gonna get toasty again. Now it's not gonna get hotter, but mid 90s, it's hot, and I'm not
That's
looking
typical
forward to
though
it.
for Georgia, right?
Yeah.
We kind of hover around 90, 95.
We are pretty much where we should be. As far as today, we should be at 88. Today we got to at least I think 92.
That's still warm.
I have to go and double check.
But
the
no
data.
drought conditions.
No drought, but as we mentioned in the coverage of the fire, which I'm pretty sure you're going to be.
Oh, we're going to
mentioning,
touch on that tonight.
We are abnormally dry. We're about 1.25 inches or so across the metro.
Are we in that red flag alert or what,
No,
what
we
do
ain't
they
in
call
none
it?
of that.
Nothing like that?
None
Okay.
of that. None of that.
Okay.
But we are about 1.25 inches below where we should be as far as rain. Now, luckily, we were really wet earlier in the year, but because we are a little dry, we were concerned about the potential for the fire to spread, which we saw a little bit
And we're going
of
to show
that.
this in the newscast
Yeah.
because this fire was massive and it did start to spread because of the wind.
Oh, yes.
But Atlanta firefighters, they always get the job done. And they protected not only residents who live nearby this fire, businesses that live nearby this fire, but they got the hot spots out. And now the question is, who's going to pay for the cleanup?
Listen, it can't be me.
It was
Can't be me.
abandoned, so
It can't
I
be
mean,
me.
somebody owns it.
How was your weekend? I saw you were all dressed up at the Emmys and
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, I got quite the report to tell you on that. It was fantastic. I don't know if we broke records, but Atlanta News First showed up strong. And then our sister station, Telemundo, muy bueno.
Oh, yes.
They did muy bueno.
I saw. There was a lot of people.
I didn't see
celebrating.
you. That was the
Oh,
only thing missing, Patrick.
Well, you know what? I was too busy doing the work of the people.
Yes,
I was
true.
in the trenches.
He was in the trenches.
Yes.
Somebody's got to do
Getting
the
some
forecast.
ice cream.
You needed it this weekend.
It was,
that's for
it was,
sure.
it was brutal.
But it was wonderful. It was great to see all our colleagues celebrating the democracy of freedom of speech and to have the right to hold city leaders and government leaders accountable, and how our stories are making a difference in Atlanta and making sure that the people who live here were safe and were protected and looking out for the underdog. And
And
that's,
you
that's
guys-
why I got into business,
You
because
guys
that's
have really
what I
done
like
a
doing.
good job of doing that in the last 18
Well, you
months.
say
that I've been
y'all,
here.
but I've been nominated at least 13 times, and I haven't won one yet.
Well, you know, I've been
I'm
nominated
like
twice, and I
I'm like
haven't
the
won
Susan
either, so.
Lucci of the Emmys.
You know what? This
But
is your
next year is
This is your year. Claim it in the name of
claim
Jesus.
it.
Come on, claim
Yeah,
it. Listen.
it's my time. It's my season.
Now, as we mentioned in the headlines, there's a lot for us to get to. You know, we like to give you a little bit of Shon and Patrick before we start
Why
getting
not?
to it. But I don't want it. I don't want that lady to get into the comment section like she did last week and told us to just
Tell
get
you
to
to get
the
to the
news.
get to,
So
get to the biz.
Let's get to the news.
So we're here for, as you like to say, a
good-
good time, but a short time.
Listen, a good time, not a long time.
There you go.
Oh, yes. So normally I like to stay on screen with this, but looks like they changed some things around over the course of the weekend, and I can't do that. So I'm just going to do what I can
You're gonna
do.
talk about the tropics? Is that what that thing
yeah,
is
because
right
this
there?
is the most interesting thing that is happening in the weather is the tropics.
Is it going to impact Georgia at all?
Can I get through my segment first, please? Thank
Well,
you.
I thought you wanted me to ask a
no,
question.
No, I don't know. This is not a Q&A period. It's
It
not-
feels
the Q&A
like it.
is on YouTube. It's not with you.
Ooh.
No, guys.
Stinky.
A little bit. So what we're talking about, let's see. I may try to do something different. It looks like someone has been hanging out and playing with my
That's why you need my
setup.
questions. Why you're trying to set that up.
Now, in the middle, Shon Gables, you were the person that was supposed to set this up for me, and you did not. But that's okay.
Set what up?
You're supposed to set up my shot, but we can do this like this.
Okay.
That
That sounds fantastic.
It's a
In
little
fact,
bit different.
you get to see more of it.
Yes. So we do have a new system in the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Campeche. This is potential tropical cyclone 1. That is a mouthful. Basically, the National Weather Service a few years ago, they came up with this terminology for a system that was not technically completely a tropical cyclone or a tropical storm, or hurricane, any of that, but has the potential to bring those impacts to an area as a tropical system. And so This is potential tropical cyclone 1. It's not tropical yet, but the winds are at about 40 miles per hour. It's moving to the north-northwest at 7 miles per hour, and we do expect this to become a tropical system over the course of the next 24 hours. Here is that forecast track, and it has it moving into Mexico. So this is going to be south of Brownsville, Texas, somewhere between Brownsville, Texas, and Tampico, Mexico. We expect this to make landfall as a tropical storm, but this will also bring Joseph Giese says he also wants answers to Shon's question.
Thank you, Joseph Giese.
But this
Listen to the people.
will eventually move inland into Mexico and
No
continue
impact
to dissipate.
no impact to Georgia.
Oh, you
and
got
that
that?
was the simple question.
But I
asked
wanted to
earlier.
take the people on a journey. You know,
You've been told on you've been told on YouTube to
You've been
get to
told.
the point.
You've been told.
No, you've been told.
But let me hold on before my digital manager
Joe Giese,
gets
if you're
on
watching,
here
you might
and-
want to tell
and
Patrick to
fuss
be a
at
little
me
bit
for not
nicer
having this
to me,
lower banner. There we go.
or he's going to be doing these pluses by himself. This is a
I will
global
not.
audience.
I will not do it by myself. Listen here.
A global audience requires a little bit better behavior.
You're so petty. So once again, this is potential tropical cyclone 1. If it does gain tropical characteristics, which we fully expect it to over the course of the next 24 hours, it will be Alberto. That is the first name on the 2024 hurricane list. Say it.
Alberto.
Yes, I want you to practice with
Alberto.
the global audience so that whenever you're on ANF, you get it right.
¿Tú hablas español un poquito? Alberto.
I can't roll my tongues because, you know,
Well-
in French,
Well,
we
you
don't
can do it
roll.
like Tex-Mex. Alberto. Alberto.
Alberto.
There you go. That's the
Alberto.
Americanized version
Yeah.
of it. Are we reaching these named storms earlier than we have in the past, or we're right on time?
Last year, I believe it was June 2nd was our.
Because I remember Idalia
No,
for some reason. That was the one I remember the most.
That's because it sounds like Vidalia.
Oh,
Onions.
it's an onion,
And
right?
it's a hard one. All the ones
But
that
it
you
was
have
it was
to-
pretty powerful too.
Yeah, all the ones that you have to work to say it correctly. Those are the ones you remember, like
Right.
Isaias.
Yes, that was another one I
Yes, that was
remember.
yes.
So is this right on track for the time that we start to see these named storms?
This pretty much is. Typically, you get the first named storm on the 20th of June, and I believe today's the 17th. Don't
Today's
quote
the
me.
17th. It is.
Yeah, so that's typical average is the 20th, but the last couple of years we've gotten them in early June, and then the 7 years before 2 years ago, so 2022 to like 2015, we got a named storm in May. So
Well, that's
we're a little-
early.
right?
That's
so
early.
so we're a little bit beyond the dice of the last 10 years, but for climatologically speaking, it's June 20th.
What's the trajectory? Because every year you sort of forecast, the Atlanta News First Weather Team forecasts, is this going to be a tough hurricane season or is this going to be a good one?
So we fully believe this is going to be a very active hurricane season. We have a lot of things working in that direction. Number one, hurricanes get their energy off of latent heat. Not going to give you a scientific lesson on latent heat, but essentially it's energy from it's technically leftover energy from evaporation over the ocean, if that makes any sense. But it's a complicated process, but it's like a latent energy that's just there. It comes from the ocean water.
And what I learned last year from you and from the Atlanta News First Weather Team is that most of these named storms start along the Horn of Africa.
Oh, you better
bring it.
You better
I
be paying
listen.
attention to class.
I pay attention to class. Listen, your weather department saves lives. It educates us. It informs us. And this is why you need to download the Atlanta News First Plus app, because you get those weather changes sent to your phone that apply to your neighborhood as quick as you get a notification from Facebook, you get one from us.
But also, just like this platform, the First Alert Weather Team is global, and we're watching the ocean waters for you too as well. Come on, speak on it.
Speak on it.
Listen, let me get
the
back
Horn
to
of
this
Africa
forecast.
causing problems already.
Let me get to this forecast. You play games. I told y'all we were going to be here for a good time, not a long time.
But somehow we always extend it to
We do.
more minutes.
But that's fine. Let me get these people what they need to know. Anyways, we're watching potential tropical cyclone 1. More than likely, it will become Alberto by tomorrow evening. I tried to roll the tongue. It didn't work.
But
Closer-
you got Alberto. That's good.
Yes.
Alberto.
Yes.
Alberto.
Yeah, so that is the first name on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're expecting this to be a very active hurricane season. We have very warm sea surface temperatures. We're in a La Nina, which La Nina is typically equates to there being more active systems and typically more stronger systems.
And which means that if you're flying, you're going to deal with more turbulence. And that's the part that I
Yes,
hate.
yes.
I hate turbulence.
I mean, that's a big extrapolation, but I'm gonna let it
but
ride
it's
because
true.
you're not wrong.
When you
You're
got
not wrong.
volatile air, you
You're
got
not
some
wrong.
turbulence when you're flying.
You're not wrong. I'm gonna let it ride. But yeah, that's gonna be our story. Closer to home, high pressure is dominating. It's just to the north of us, and it's pretty much causing counterclockwise movement into our area. So you can kind of see there's a little bit of moisture moving from the southeast to the northwest. The moisture really just is not having much luck making it to the ground. It's essentially just dissipating. There's a whole lot of subsidence, a whole lot of sinking air. So it's really not allowing these thunderstorms to do what they typically like to do. So that's why that rain chance was near 20%. We knew we'd see some sprinkles, but we knew that most of y'all would be dry. Very warm out there still. It's 8 o'clock-ish. And we're at 90 degrees here in Atlanta, 91 Peachtree City, upper 80s around Kennesaw, Marietta. Temperatures have just not cooled a whole lot over the course of the last couple of hours. We have southeast flow tonight, and we have a few lingering clouds, so we do expect it to be on the warmer side again tonight. Not mid to upper 70s warm, but low 70s here in the city. If you're in the suburbs, may get lucky and dip to 69. Just expect to need the AC through the overnight. The humidity is still there today. It'll be around tomorrow, although I do think it's going to be a little bit reduced. Still going to feel a little sticky out there, so don't expect it to feel like March out there, but it will be a little less humid, like 2% less. It'll feel a little bit better by Wednesday as winds shift and become more easterly, and that's why we expect Wednesday to be the coolest day of the week. So day number 7 of the heat wave is definitely upon us as we head into tomorrow, partly cloudy. Joe Geezy said, Patrick, happy work wife, happy work life.
Amen.
Come on.
Amen. Speak it, brother. Speak it.
Here's where we're going with the 7-day forecast. Back into the 90s tomorrow afternoon.
So we are technically still in a heat wave?
Yes, we hit at least 91 degrees
90
today. We
I
may
thought
have
it
hit
was-
92.
yeah, 92.
I need to double check that. But 90 plus is heat wave.
That puts you in the framework of saying you technically have a heat wave.
Yeah. We do 3 days in a
But even though if we break it tonight when we go in the 70s?
So the way the heat wave works, and this is for everyone at home, it's based off of the afternoon maximum temperature.
Oh,
so if
okay.
your afternoon high or afternoon maximum temperature reaches 90 or above, that quantifies that day as
So it doesn't
part
matter
of the
how
heat
low
wave.
it gets at night. It's
Right.
what happens in the
It's the
daytime.
maximum temperature in the afternoon. So tomorrow we expect it to get to 91. You see that
So
90
you
at
still,
6.
I see it. So that means we're still in a heat wave.
That will be day 7 of the
Wow.
heat wave. Yeah.
When do city leaders and those who are planning public events, when you know you've got this long stretch of a heat wave, when does it become of a concern?
So what I will say is, and this is going to sound really petty, but we have these conversations. We have these conversations off air. Y'all are just going to be privy to it today, because we are fully aware that a lot of you all think that everywhere you go, no matter which station you talk to, the meteorologist hype the weather. It's June. It's summer officially on Thursday. It's supposed to be hot. So basically, the city government, for the most part, they're counting on everyone to be responsible adults, to hydrate, not try to run 34 miles from at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
Which is the height
Right,
of the heat.
Right. They're expecting you to be grown and take care of yourself. So they're probably not putting anything in place for
Outside of
this-
cooling centers, there have been some.
There have been some for the weekend when we were like near record temperatures,
Mm-hmm.
but right now we're just hot. It's not record. It's pretty much, we should be at 88. We're forecasting 91 for tomorrow.
So we're not seeing stuff where roads could buckle.
No. I mean,
Airport
it's
could
just-
have
this is
tires
this is
blowing
regular
up because
summer.
it's so hot.
Regular summer. Things that happen regularly every summer, that's what we happening. You go to the ice cream stand, you get ice cream, you hold it in your hand, you walk around for 10 minutes without licking it,
It's gonna melt.
Like, I don't mean to be sarcastic, but that's just how I explain the forecast and things that we're tracking. This isn't going to be anything that's going to be any different than any other summer that we've had. Now, I mentioned that tomorrow will be part of the heat wave. As we head into Wednesday, those winds will begin to shift. And that east wind is going to cause for things to be a little bit cooler. When you get a south wind or a south-southeast wind or a southwest wind, that's typically a warming wind in general. And the east wind is going to help you a little bit because it's typically going to cool you a little bit. And then a north wind, and a northwest wind, it just depends on the time of year, what it does. I mean, in general, it's a cooling wind too. But that east wind is normally good for us because it helps us out a little bit. And we're still going to be hot, but we're going to be upper 80s hot on Wednesday, which Shon Gables, you now know that whenever temperature tops out in the upper 80s and not the 90s.
You're no longer in a heat wave.
Come on, class.
But if you're serving at a jury trial like with Young Thug right now, you're probably glad you're on a jury now versus, they're saying that jury's going to last for 2 years.
Yeah.
So when it's this hot, you might be glad that you're inside that courtroom because at least you got some air conditioning.
Come on, speak on it. Tell the truth.
That's just
Shame him.
some of the many stories we're following here at Atlanta News First.
Shame him. We got some. Who's this in the comments? Kevin Green, best team in Atlanta. Thank you so much, Kevin. Kevin's giving. Hold on.
Kevin's giving your props.
He's giving us. We're the team. I'm not solo here.
Okay, Kevin.
Kevin is giving us some love. He says we're the best
appreciate
team in Atlanta. He also says that he works construction out in the heat, and he's glad he's off. I'm glad you're off too, Kevin. Hopefully you were off this weekend because this weekend was when it was crucial.
But you got a second wave that's coming this
we
weekend.
do. Can I get there?
Kevin,
I have all the
I'm trying to
meteorologist
help
degrees
him.
here. I got both of them.
I'm trying to help him, and he's just not
She trying
going
to play
with
me,
the
Kevin.
program.
She's trying to play me, Kevin. Listen, let me get you what you need to know. Let's fast forward. So I mentioned Wednesday will be a little bit cooler, topping out in the upper 80s. There's going to be a few more clouds around, but we're keeping things nice and dry. And this ridge of high pressure that's in the mid levels is going to dominate through the rest of the work week. So outside of today's hit or miss sprinkles, we fully expect the rest of the work week to be dry. Temperatures are going to get back into the 90s on Thursday, so we are going to be watching for the potential to start a second heat wave. And I'm saying the potential, but it's pretty much a far gone conclusion because rain chances stay low through the next 5 days, and temperatures, they increase after Wednesday. So we're going to go from 91 Wednesday to 94 Friday, and then we are bouncing to the mid-90s again this weekend. So if you had any weekend plans to get outside, maybe you thought that this past weekend was hot, you pushed everything off this week, it's going to be a degree cooler, 1 degree. So that same heat that you felt this past weekend.
And I know you like to
Do it
give your
again.
wine recommendations, but should you not drink when the weather is this hot? You need to hydrate with water,
So
not
what
with adult beverages.
So what I'm going to tell you is what I do myself. Hold on, let me bring Shon Gables into this shot real quick. What I'm going to, I
Whenever
would
he tries
never,
to give a tutorial or
I
shame
never.
me, he
I,
wants
I'm
to
not
show
gonna
my
shame you. I'm not
face.
going to shame you. But
You've been doing it. You've been doing it.
I never give the viewers advice, or I never tell viewers to do things that I wouldn't do. I told y'all last weekend I was going to be in the house for most of the afternoon, but I was
Right.
going to get out in the morning and the evening. Did that.
Uh-huh.
As far as having drinks, I actually had one of my uncles and his wife. They came over and like two of their friends, and we kind of had like I guess it was a wine tasting in theory. It didn't start out that way, but like one of the friends, she was from Louisiana. She made jambalaya and she made gumbo, which in my mind I was like, it's a little too hot for gumbo, but
With an adult beverage, it'd be perfect.
We had.
You paired it with the wine,
I paired it with wine. I absolutely did.
but you did it while you were indoors
While I was
in air
indoors,
conditioning.
but I was also drinking water at the same time.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna ever tell you to put down the wine glass. Just make sure that instead of going for that second wine glass, before you get to it, make sure that you get you 8 ounces of water in between each glass. That's the cheat code.
Okay.
Just saying. Once again, this is only for people who are 21 and over. If you're under 21, that wasn't
You're
for
not
you.
supposed to be doing it anyway.
That was not for you. Let's get back to this forecast because this is what y'all came here for.
What did I do wrong? Because you're putting up the same graphic.
You cut me off.
I
and
did?
I'm having trouble.
Maybe
getting,
that was on purpose.
Yes, I'm trying to get these people the 7-day forecast, which is hot. And I mentioned that we're temporarily breaking the heat wave, and it's on Juneteenth. My God.
Oh, and there's a big, huge parade this weekend.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be out there sweating.
Saturday.
You're gonna be out there sweating.
So, and this during the height of it starts at 12.
Yeah.
So it's at the height of when the
Oh,
heat's going to be
hot.
there.
We're gonna be hot.
Oh, so we need to make sure
But we're
people
gonna be out
have water,
there, though, because we're gonna be
fans.
celebrating. Oh,
We are
yes.
going to be celebrating. 'cause
I
we
think
don't
that we're
miss
giving away the
Juneteenth.
first alert weather fans again this year.
They need to.
New and improved from what I've heard. I'm pretty sure.
Are they
so.
the battery powered ones where you just blow yourself and it's
Now, come on now. That's coming out your salary. It's coming out the Shon Gables fund.
so it's the one that you manually fan yourself, but you're going to want it.
It's the manual fan.
You're going to
but
want it.
but-
You're going to get on the parade route. You're going to see Alan Devlin. You're going to see Tracy Hutchins and the Queen herself, Monica Pearson's making a return.
Oh, yes.
And the weather team's going to be out there, including you.
Yeah,
Patrick
and the anchor
Pete.
team is going to be out here. You're going to be out there.
It's a celebration.
Is Blair going to be out there?
It's a celebration. Why would we not?
Okay, I just have to make sure. You know, I think Joe Geesey, you're in the comment section,
Joe
sir.
Geesey, are you
Joe
in the
Geesey,
comment
will you
section?
come? Will you come?
Joe
to
Geesey,
the...
by the way, is our producer. He's trying to keep the party started in the comment
Oh yeah,
section.
Joe Geesey, he's coming.
Are you coming, Joe Geesey?
Yeah, it's outside my house.
Oh, it's
so
outside
you ain't,
your,
you
so
ain't
you
got-
live in a
so you
nice
have no
little
excuse
swanky
not to,
area.
You have no excuse to be tardy.
Well, you're going to get one of those Atlanta News First fans.
All right, now you're
make sure you
broadcasting where
hydrate.
you live at to this global audience. So if somebody shows up at your doorstep.
I'm glad how you've embraced the fact that this is a global audience. Because when I first said the ANF Plus, this center is intended for a global audience, you kind of chuckled. But that's what we do.
I chuckle at everything you say, though.
'Cause I
Middle
keep
of the
it real.
newscast, she over there talking about. But that's
What
my
happens
friend.
in the commercial breaks are worthy
They're
of being
show
in the
worthy
Plus.
themselves. That could be its own sideshow. That could be its
It
own
could be a
sideshow.
reality show.
We may start plugging some of that into the.
I think you would appreciate it. You
Yes,
can see
it
that we're
would.
human, and we sometimes react to the stories just like you do at home.
Absolutely, because
Especially
sometimes
that fire
it is,
today. We were
that
mouse to the
fire-
floor.
This is going to be a good transition, which means that you're going to take over and I'm going to leave. And
Yeah,
go
so why don't
eat
you
my
go ahead and put
lunch.
up that little.
But hold on, I want to talk about the fire for a minute.
Oh, okay.
Because
Go ahead.
tell me, Shon, I know you're not used to being on this side of the interview. But all jokes aside, in the middle of a newscast, we're business as usual, talking about the stories of the day that have already developed. Obviously the heartbreaking story that came out of Coweta County this morning.
Another fire story.
Broke all of our hearts.
Which is a reminder, and I'm not saying that this wasn't the case for this family and their
Yeah.
home, but is a reminder to us all, a wake-up call, that if you do not have a smoke detector and a working carbon monoxide detector in your home, it is imperative that you get that now. And local fire departments, not just here in Atlanta, but every county across the state of Georgia, if you can't afford to get a fire smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector, go to your local fire department and ask for one. It saves lives.
does.
6 people lost their life today because of a fire at their home. And then we saw this big, huge, massive abandoned building that went up in flames. And a lot of people were, are wondering, well, why are you dedicating all this time to an
Yeah.
abandoned building? But the building was not the issue.
Right.
It was the proximity to businesses and other properties, some as close as 50 yards. That's very, very close, that separated those apartment buildings from this massive fire, and just how residents were coming out with their own water hoses
Thing
to
that
try to get the
scared-
fire out.
And they were doing what anybody would do. Thing that's scary about that is, we mentioned on Thursday that while no part of Georgia is in a drought, we are abnormally dry. That is a classification that they actually put out. It's based off of the amount of rainfall over the last few weeks, and we're shy of our monthly total that we should get by about an inch or quarter or so. But whenever you pan that out to pretty much weeks of no appreciable rainfall, you have the wood of homes, it's dry. You have all of this shrubbery, all of these bushes and things, they're all dry.
And they become fuel.
Fuel.
All it takes is one spark on very dry grass or very dry soil or very dry matter for that part, that all it takes is just a flicker and poof.
And we saw that unfold.
And we saw it unfold
I know that
live.
you're going to have some video coming up because I'm about to walk away. But
Well, while you make that transition, you can
Okay.
pop up.
I know you have
let
some-
people
I
watch
know you
us.
have some
Oh,
video.
look at that skyline.
I know you have
Oh,
some
it's-
video.
it's beautiful.
Basically showing some of the shrubbery next to the fire.
Yes, I
And
do.
you're going to show the people that. This is your moment. Let me leave.
No, I don't want you to leave. I want you to keep talking while I'm trying to get all this adjusted, because how do I know which one is you and which one is me?
You're this mic right here is
This
the
is
second
you?
one. Yeah, that's me. So this
And
is
so
you.
this is me.
Yes.
You positive?
I'm
Because
positive.
otherwise I'm going to
I'm
leave them
certain.
both on,
I'm certain.
because you're scaring me.
I'm certain. That's me.
That's you?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear Patrick? Talk, Patrick. I want to
I'm
make
by your
sure.
mic now.
Oh, you are, so they would hear you.
Yeah.
Well, darn it. Thought I was actually figuring out something.
But it's right.
And then, I'm learning how, by the way, folks, so I'm new to the Atlanta News First Plus global studio. So I'm learning how to do graphics. And I'm going to really try to do everything right tonight. I'm so excited. Now I'm going to just kind of pop myself right up on this camera. Do I just do a one there?
Yes, ma'am.
There we do. Oh, that's a super. Let me go ahead and bring it. And then how do I bring me over there? Oh, quick play. Ta-da.
Come on, look at that lighting.
Look at the progress that Shon Gables is making in the Plus Center.
All we have to do is change the setting because you're a little short.
Not only that, because because you know what my number is. But as we're getting this all settled, I just want to welcome you to the Atlanta News First Plus Center. We have a lot to cover tonight, and we have what a weekend. This is Monday, June 17th. But many of you were celebrating Father's Day over the weekend. If you have a father or a father figure in your life, we want to say Happy Father's Day. We hope it was great for you, and what a spectacular day that Atlanta News First had at the Southeast Emmys this weekend. I am so proud of my colleagues, and we really, you know what, I need you here, Patrick. I did something. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm trying to play some video, and it's saying error.
Uh-oh.
So what did I do?
Let's find out.
So while I'm talking about our spectacular performance at the Emmys, I'm not quite sure what that means.
Me either.
We're gonna call a digital editor over here, because otherwise
Jordan,
you're just gonna have to see
make
my
your
face.
primetime debut.
Come make your debut, because as I told you, I am new in the Atlanta News First Plus studio. I'm probably into my third week here, and trying to figure out why my video won't play. What did I do wrong? It says error. But while we're trying to figure this out, let's just talk about the spectacular weekend that our team had at the Southeast Emmys. It was hosted by Gray Television. Our own CEO, Hilton Howell, was there, along with all the news directors, the general managers, the reporters, the producers, the writers, the directors, the photographers. It was quite the exceptional. I'm going to go back. Let's just look at the skyline while I'm talking, so you don't have to see me sitting here trying to just constantly yak away. I'm going to work on my little superhero. Take that off.
And sing them a song, Shon.
Well, I'm not going to sing them a song, but I'm going to tell you about the Emmys. It was spectacular. Our Atlanta News First investigative reporter, Brendan Keefe, he won 13 Emmys. One night, 13 Emmys.
Come on, Mr. Key.
Mr. Key, setting the bar. That's why he's the chief investigator. Chief investigator. I mean, if you don't know, if you have not seen Brendan Keefe's stories, go to our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. You can see all the work that our investigative team has done. But boy, oh boy, he won 13 Emmys. I've been in the business, Patrick, 27 years. I've been nominated many times.
That's one for every 2 years that you've been in the
business. Yeah, and I ain't won one yet. I'm the Susan Lucci of the Emmys. Brendan is the GOAT, and look at our team. All dressed up and fancy.
Okay, I see Shon Gables.
It was an investigator, Andy Perotti. He won 4 Emmys. Sierra Cummings, our Atlanta News First investigator, she won 2. Better Call Harry, our business consumer unit, they won 1. Our reporter, brand new reporter to Atlanta News First, Joshua Skinner. He won for Best Talent Reporter. He is. He eats clean and he works out, and it definitely shows, but he's an incredible reporter, has done a fantastic job. Our Patrick Quinn, he won his first Atlanta Southeast Emmy. I believe it's his first here in Atlanta, and his reports on Atlanta fire stations temporarily closing due to truck shortages garnered him that award. But again, just a congratulations to the 26 awards won by Atlanta News First. I'm so proud of our team. We work hard to do this work in Atlanta, and it's a perfect time to tell everyone to download the Atlanta News First app to catch all of these reports live. And our Tori Cooper, she is on assignment tonight. She is covering this story, Patrick, that we were talking about, this massive fire in Northwest Atlanta. It was a close call for businesses and residents in a nearby apartment complex. Eyewitnesses telling Atlanta News First the heat was so intense. Windows on nearby apartments not involved in the fire were popping. There were blinds that were melting at apartment complexes. There were also just chaos. There were residents who were trying to. I'm trying to do this right here. I'm trying to put this. Oh boy, I just did something wrong. There were neighbors that were using their own water hoses that were trying to douse the flames. Now, leave this work to the Atlanta Fire Department, because fortunately no one was injured, but there's no guarantee that won't happen if this kind of thing happens again. This was a 2-alarm fire. It destroyed an abandoned apartment building. No injuries reported, but the damage and the financial strain for families living in nearby structures, this is going to be challenging. Our Tori Cooper tonight is on the ground seeing who will get what assistance, what may have caused this fire, and what happens to this shell of a building left behind. Who's going to be stuck cleaning this up? This is a neighborhood. This is where people live. This is where kids go to school. This is where they go to the playground and play. This is going to be a huge dirty mess. It was an abandoned building. Somebody owns it. Tori Cooper trying to get those answers. Neighbors want to know. And we'll have a live report tonight at 10 on Peachtree TV and at Atlanta News First at 11 o'clock. We are 5 days away.
The Negroes claimed
Oops.
that voter registration
That's not what I'm trying to
tests
do.
were
We
used
are-
to keep them from the polls.
In the
hear
1940s
this.
and 50s for black men and
I'm looking for, there we go. We are 5 days away. But this will not be nominated for an Emmy. It will not be nominated for an Emmy. But folks, I'm getting through it. I told you I was new. We're 5 days away from our Juneteenth parade package, our parade coverage, our parade everything that celebrates the beauty of Juneteenth. Do you even know the history of Juneteenth, Patrick?
Of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
Where's your mic? This is time for a pop quiz. You ready? Freddie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, what is Juneteenth?
Juneteenth is a celebration of the day that the last slaves in Texas
Yes.
got word that they were free, because the Emancipation Proclamation was when it was actually signed. But in Texas, they was being real shady, real tasteless, and they didn't want to let us go.
Right. So they actually didn't tell us until several years later.
Yes.
And that is when the Texas residents learned about their emancipation, it became a Juneteenth holiday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it a federal holiday now?
It is.
Does everyone consider it a holiday that you get a day off?
No.
That's right. Some companies give you the
But
choice.
thankfully, I work for Gray. 'Cause
Yeah,
let me tell you,
amen.
Gray
Tell you about the
Media,
greatness
come on,
of Gray
the
television.
greatness of Gray television,
They celebrate,
baby.
they celebrate diversity, and you do get a company holiday for
Come on.
Juneteenth.
Yes, ma'am.
You passed the test. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Well, you know,
I'm gonna let you go.
Georgia's most accurate, baby.
Georgia's most accurate. Hand me this mic over here. We are 5 days away from our Juneteenth parade coverage. You see that QR code there? Put it up to your phone and scan that. That's going to give you all the information of the parade route, our coverage, what to expect. It starts Saturday at noon on Peachtree TV. Tracy Hutchins, Alan Devlin, and the Queen herself, Monica Pearson, they're going to be co-hosting again along the parade route in Atlanta. This is a perfect time to reflect on Black Georgians who were forced to answer some impossible questions just to cast a ballot. And that was the reality back in the 1950s. And we're just days away from Juneteenth. Atlanta News First reporter Patrick Quinn, he has dug into the history of barriers for black voters and what that access looks like now.
The Negroes claimed that voter registration tests were used to keep them from the polls.
in the 1940s and 50s for black men in Georgia, even before the barrage of hate you might face physically at the polls, you were tested.
What is the definition of a felony in Georgia? Oh, dear God.
We went into the Georgia archives. That is one question on the 1958 citizenship test. If voters could not read and write a section of the Georgia Constitution, they'd have to answer 20 of these 30 questions correct to be able to register to vote.
In the 40s, how hard would this have been?
It would have been impossible. It was truly designed with discriminatory intent.
We sat down with Alicia Hughes, Emory's interim executive director for the Center of Civil Rights and Social Justice. Hughes said her grandfather and great-grandfather had to take literacy tests just like these.
You couldn't read and write, and the registrar were to ask a person these questions. What is the likelihood that they would know the answer in the 40s and 50s? Hell, let's consider what's the likelihood that most Americans would have the answers to these questions today.
We wanted to know the same. Could you pass a literacy test today? We took these questions to the Atlanta streets.
May the President of the United States be legally elected for a second term?
Yes.
You're on a roll.
I'm a teacher. I do teach about it.
Though this second grade teacher would soon be stumped on the term length for U.S. senators.
2 years.
It's 6, but she wouldn't be the only one to come up short.
How many representatives are there in the Georgia House of Representatives? And how does the Constitution of Georgia provide that they be apportioned among the several counties?
I do not know. What's the name of the state judicial circuit you're in? And what are the names of the counties or counties in that circuit?
That's ridiculous. No one knows that.
That was the voting landscape then. But what about now?
There's so many different ways now that some iteration of a literacy test is coming back into play, even now.
Civil rights organizations, including the ACLU of Georgia and the Southern Poverty Law Center, argue in Senate Bill 202, passed and signed by Governor Kemp in 2021, changes to absentee voting and accessing drop boxes make it harder for specifically black voters to cast a ballot. And just last month, the governor signed Senate Bill 189, calling for more election changes. The governor's office defended the bill, saying, quote, "As the governor has done in the past, he will always support measures that keep our elections secure, accessible, and fair. Whether in the 1940s or now, no matter the odds, perceived or real obstructions, Georgians cannot be denied their right to vote."
You have to go through this in order for us to get what we need as far as our government is concerned, our lives, our everyday lives. We have to go through this process.
In Atlanta, Patrick Quinn, Atlanta.
And we got to give a big, huge shout out to some phenomenal Georgia volleyball players tonight. They're bringing home 5 national championship volleyball titles to the Peach State. This weekend, more than 117,000 athletes and coaches representing all 50 states, including Canada, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, competed in AAU's Boys and Girls Junior National Volleyball Championships. This is a 25-day event. It's expected to host 5,865 teams in 67 separate divisions. It is the largest sporting event ever, and it's held in Orlando, Florida. We are celebrating. Atlanta News First is celebrating and proud to congratulate the only 2 Georgia clubs coming home with the championship hardware, Roswell's A5 Pure Volleyball Club and Cartersville 575 Volleyball Club. And I'm going to try to bring up multiple pictures of the team. There we go. We're going to break down the A5. They won 6 titles, 3 of which were the highest in the most competitive division. We want to congratulate A5's 14-2 Earl. Also, 13-1 Karen. Congratulations to 12-1 LA, 11 Lori, and then also to 12-2 Aaron. And then also Cartersville's 575, 14-1 Jeff. That team went undefeated 14-0. They are bringing home the 14A national title as well. The next round for ages 15 and up are happening right now. That tournament's going to wrap up July 7th. But again, 5 national volleyball championship titles coming home to Georgia. Only 2 clubs in the entire state were able to bring these titles home, and that includes A5 Volleyball Club and Cartersville at 575. And now let's talk about, just a reminder here, about the importance of, let me change the super here, just bear with me. The importance of, we want to make sure that you get the opportunity to win. Oh boy, what am I doing wrong? Just bear with me. We want you to take out your phone right now and text the words Dream Home to 470-777-WANF. This is just a quick reminder that time is running out to reserve your tickets for our St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. The home is incoming. It's valued at $675,000. It is fully furnished. Look at these beautiful furnishings throughout the house. You do not have to live in Georgia to be qualified to win. Share this with your friends and family. This is a great opportunity to help sick children recover from cancer. And there's the home right there, valued at $675,000. It can be yours for a very small investment. Super easy to get it. Just text the words Dream Home to the number 470-777-WANF to reserve your tickets. We're going to announce the winner live on TV, and we hope that you become the winner. It's your chance to do that. So with that, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for watching Atlanta News First Plus. Thank you for bearing with me for all of the interesting little technical glitches I had today. It's part of growth, folks. And that's what makes the Plus so fun, because It's raw, it's natural, and it just shows my personal growth. So again, thank you for watching. Remember, Atlanta News First is your #1 source for breaking news, live streams, sports, and political news. Again, a big shout out to A5 and to Cartersville 575. I'm Shon Gables. Join us 24/7 on air, online, on our Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube TV, Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and the AtlantaNewsFirst.com website. And make sure you join us tonight at 11 for Atlanta News First, along with my colleagues Blair Miller, sports anchor Emily Gagnon, and Atlanta News First meteorologist Fred Campagna. We'll see you.